This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, the how-tos of a student beyond classroom walls. This is the podcast where you, yes you, get to learn what they don't teach you at school and ace that test called life, or at least get a passing grade and get by. It's Not in the Syllabus is a podcast brought to you by the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, together with the Student Association, where we feature stories by the students and for the students. Join us as we discover life lessons you'll surely need.
Welcome to another episode of It's Not in a Syllabus, the how-tos of students beyond class walls. We are in a different atmosphere. We are here in graduate school, particularly in the business department. So we are going to have a conversation with a professor, which we are going to introduce him in a while. But today's topic is about finding purpose in your research. So I will have to discuss this topic with someone who I respect, someone who has taught me for many years in AIIAS, and someone who has more teaching experience that I know of. So today I'm going to talk with Dr. LeRoy Ruhupatty. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Praise the Lord.
Thank
And
you. I'm good. So I will not introduce Dr. Ruhupatty. If I introduce him, I'll make a mistake. So I will ask him to introduce himself. Doc, can you briefly tell our audience who you are, what you're doing right now, and just that.
Well, I've been teaching for 30 years in the Seventh-day Adventist Higher Education Institution.
Wow.
Before the fourth year, my plan was to go to the corporate world
Okay.
and make some money. But in the last year, the Lord worked in different way.
Amen.
He uses one of my professors to kind of
Uh-huh.
twist the way around.
Mhm.
And they invited me to join the university upon graduation.
Wow.
So yes, after the fourth year in college,
Okay.
then I think about it, talk to my parents about it,
Okay.
prayed about it, and make the decision that yes, I will
Okay.
accept the invitation to
Wow.
join the university.
Wow.
And so there I am. I'm in academia
Wow.
from the beginning.
Very good. So as a business professor, I know that you also is the department chair, right?
Correct.
Of the business department. So and then I know that you have 30 years of teaching experience. So thank you so much for that introduction. We are going to dive into our topic, and the reason why when we are selecting this topic, when we thought about finding purpose in research, is for we know how you love research and your passion for research, and we also know that you are not just passionate about it, but you're also doing research. And recently in 2023 I just saw an article that you published. Is that with your daughter? I think I have that research. I think 2023.
That's in 2024.
2024.
Just recently. July 2024.
Good. So it's something that we appreciate that you do, and we are going to talk about finding purpose in research. So maybe as we begin our conversation, we help us to understand, as an academician who has been in this area for long, how do you define purpose in research? What is the value of research?
So, purpose actually explains what the motivation behind that research. And
Okay.
of course, we cannot get away from gaps.
Correct.
Yeah, research gaps, because the very reason, the very motivation why we would like to study something or research something is because that there's a gap.
Correct.
And so we really cannot separate the two. But basically, a purpose in a research would be what is the overarching objective of us conducting research. What is it?
All right.
And so, as part of that, we need to dig deeper into understanding what are the current gaps.
Okay.
Yeah, and perhaps later on you will talk about gaps, but just
Yes.
there are many different type of gaps.
Correct.
And so, yes.
In fact, we can just dive into the different types of gaps, and I know that IAS, we usually subscribe to Miles' taxonomy of research gap, and there are 7 or 8 apparently, but every research is conducted to fill a particular gap, and after you fill the gap, a research should be measurable. I mean, should have implication. So what could be the implication of a research? The implication of a research, I believe, is to allow practitioners to take away of what you study and to apply in their field. What if a student or a researcher fails to meet that gap? What happens?
Well, we have to go back again to the purpose of the research.
Okay.
So the implication of the research cannot go beyond the purpose.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, what is the purpose? And then we can build on the implication based on that purpose.
Okay.
Now, of course, the purpose is driven by gaps. And like you mentioned, we have about 7 gaps in Miles' gap taxonomy.
Correct.
And so the implication will depend on what is the gap that we are trying to address.
Correct.
If we let's say have a population gap in which a certain group or certain population is being left behind in the inquiry of a certain topic, then the implication could really be direct. It could have a direct implication on that population, on the application of a concept or a theory to that specific population. Okay. So the implication can be very direct.
Okay.
But let's say if we have a conceptual gap or a theoretical gap, something is not well understood, and the theories tries to explain a phenomena. So let's say there is a situation where we lack an understanding or a theory that will guide our explanation of a phenomena. And so what would be the result of us trying to address that gap? It may not have a direct implication on practice.
Wow.
The direct implication will be on a theory or a concept that is missing. Right. Yes. So the direct implication is in the theory and in the concept. It may have indirect implication to a context in which we try to use that theory to explain that context. It may have an indirect implication, but the direct implication is really on the theory and on the concept. So again, like I said, to make it short, it all depends on what is the gap we are trying to address.
And make sure that whatever you are trying to address applies to that particular setting.
Correct.
Doc, you will agree with me that conducting research is not an easy task. It takes time, it takes money as well, because sometimes you don't have resources for particular books you need to buy and so forth. But let's talk more on the setbacks of research and share your experience. When it's been a time that you have conducted research and you felt setbacks, and how do you overcome those setbacks? Because students out there who are listening to us, they would like to know, when you face a setback, how did you eventually come about?
Let me tell you, research is a discovery journey.
Yes.
So a discovery whether your expectation is being met or not. And that's the fun thing about research. Sometimes your expectation is met, sometimes not. But that's just part of the journey. So as we embark on research, make sure that we have the right mentality, that it's a discovery journey.
Wow.
Whether it's good or bad, you are on the right track.
I think you need to repeat it. You need to emphasize that again. You must have a good...
We need to have the right mentality.
Right mentality to conduct research. And could be more practical lessons that you've learned from your setbacks of research. Maybe 2 or 3 that you could share with us.
Yeah, I come from a quantitative background.
Okay.
Right. Though I am into qualitative research now.
Yes.
Because I see the beauty and the value of qualitative research.
Correct.
So quantitative research falls under the positivist
Yes.
philosophy.
Philosophy.
Basically, what quantitative research do is to develop a construct of concept
Yeah.
based on what the literature posit.
Correct.
That's why it's called the positivist.
Positivistic.
It is what the literature posit. And so we develop a construct based on the literature. Then we develop hypothesis
Correct.
based on what the literature posits.
All right.
Then we test it on our data.
Correct.
Do we even know what the data is going to say? That's why research is a discovery journey. Because we really have no way of knowing what the data will say.
Correct.
It is only until we use the data to test the hypothesized concepts that we're going to say that, hey, the data does not support
Our hypothesis.
our hypothesis, which is posited by the literature.
Yeah.
Or it may. We
Okay.
really don't know. That's why I said research is a discovery journey.
Yes.
And we all go through the same
Yes.
experience. Oh, my data does not support my hypothesized concept.
Correct.
And sometimes it's disheartening, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, the hard work of collecting the data, and you say, oh, my hypothesis is not supported. I failed to reject my null hypothesis. Then sometimes you get discouraged. But remember, that's why I said research is a discovery journey, and therefore we need to have the right attitude, the right mentality.
Wow.
So, what does it mean?
Is it valid? This study was valid or invalid?
Yeah, so we need to step back.
Okay.
We need to step back and look at the entire research plan.
Okay.
Because, you know, methodology plays a
Big
key role in here.
Correct.
Your research design plays a very important role in your research. And so we need to pull ourselves back and look at the data, look at our population, look at our research design.
Okay.
Is there a weakness in it?
Okay.
Perhaps we need to go back and redefine things. Perhaps we need to look into our data. Can we redefine our data? I don't like to use the word manipulate, but in quantitative research, the word data manipulation is there. Let's say, for example, in accounting, instead of using nominal number, let's say book value of equity, instead of using the nominal book value of equity, with its millions of dollars, maybe using a ratio of book value of equity over a certain number. You know, we call it manipulation, but it's really, that's why I don't like to use the word manipulation, because people might think of it as negative. Instead, we say refining the data. Perhaps we need to pull ourselves and say, hey, maybe I have to refine the data. You know, so we need to pull ourselves back, look at our research design, tweak things around, staying within integrity and ethical ethical parameters, and refine our research.
Okay.
When we refine our research, when we go back again, here is what we need to do differently.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Right.
Let's say your data does not support the hypothesized concept.
Correct.
If you've gone through the research methodology, research design, and everything is fine.
Correct.
And the theory or the concept is not supported by the data, then perhaps you need to rethink your gap. Perhaps now you have a population gap, right?
Yes.
Perhaps now you have a empirical gap.
Correct.
You know, so perhaps you need to redefine your purpose of the
Sometimes
research.
methodology.
Sometimes there is no theory that explains the phenomena or the context in which you are studying.
Yes.
So that means now you're moving away from positivist
To constructivist.
or to
interpretative.
or into qualitative research.
Yes.
In which the approach now is going to be inductive, where maybe now you need to do an interview, observation, and come up with what is the reality from the ground up,
Okay.
instead of working deductive like the quantitative approach is. So you see, that's why I say research is a discovery journey, because you will discover something and you say, oh, maybe I need to read a different way.
Yes.
And now you're actually unearthing something new.
Yes.
Now you're coming up with a better contribution. Something is not there.
Yes.
Now you're able to generate something new
Okay.
out of the research. So taking a positive mind. I'll give you an example. You know, the paper that you were mentioning earlier, in July, the latest publication. It's a Q2 journal, very well reputable journal.
Correct.
It's a Scopus Index journal. It took us 6 years
Wow.
to publish it, and it's me and my daughter. Yes.
Yes.
So it took us 6 years to publish. It took one rejection from another journal.
And maybe we will talk about how you deal with rejection in the later stage.
Okay,
but go ahead.
yeah. But you see, there will be challenges, there
Yes.
will be setbacks.
Yes.
But if you look into those challenges and setbacks,
Yeah.
and look at value and look at feedback in there,
Correct.
and how you can actually build on it,
Yes.
then you'll be able to find something. You'll be able to achieve greater
Wow,
things.
wow. It's all about mindset and
Yes.
determination. I like that. As a business professor, and I know that you are very busy, how do you stay up to date to conduct research? Now, at home, if I can just give an overview of how busy you are, you have class to teach, you have meeting to conduct, or you have students to advise. How do you keep up to date with research? You just recently published. How do you keep up to date? What is your motivation?
Well, you got to bring something to the class.
I like that.
Without conducting research, we lose that edge. Then we become textbook
Wow.
driven. Can you imagine how rich the class is when it's actually
Yes.
driven by textbook and by current
Yeah.
development in the field?
Yeah.
When we conduct research, there's no way we do not read the latest literature, because we're trying to unearth gaps.
Correct.
Then we have to really read into what does the current literature say,
Correct.
and not only the current literature, but also what is written in the past,
Okay.
because gap is established by understanding what is the landscape
Yes.
and what are the new development in the field.
Correct.
So reading is an integral part of research.
Okay. Ready.
Now, whether that's qualitative, whether it's quantitative. Qualitative maybe will require you to do a lot of reading at the end.
Yes.
Quantitative at the beginning, but you'll still have to read. And can you imagine the rich
Yes.
knowledge that you bring into the classroom when you bring that insights?
Yeah.
And so the experience in the class is richer, because now you can bring examples that is not in the textbook.
Correct.
You know,
Yes.
Students may have read, will have to read the textbook before coming to class.
Correct.
Discussion will take place. Then you bring in your insights.
Correct.
What you read, what are the latest development
Yes.
into class. Man, that brings an exciting environment into your teaching. Yeah.
Well, and I like that, because when I took class with you, I remember one of the days you brought a paper that you wrote and say, guys, critique this paper. And I think to me that was the most humbling experience. A professor who said, I want you guys to read my paper and then make your critiques. And all of us, we went blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, say, this is the gap. Because even when you done your own study, you also found that maybe I could have improved some of these things in your paper. I like that. I really commend you for that. Let's talk about suggestions that you could give to students, knowing that some of us, we are writing and we find difficulties in our journey. So how do you suggest students for them to be focused as they conduct the research, as they also encounter some setbacks along the journey?
Yeah, so like I said, research is a discovery journey. And so we need to be flexible enough
Correct.
but at the same time be persevering with
Yes.
with the chosen research gap. Because at some stage you need to be convinced
Correct.
about what you're doing.
Okay.
But at the same time, you need to be flexible enough
Okay.
to change somewhere in the middle when
Nice.
you come across a stumbling block,
Wow.
And so the dynamic is, is so rich in research that you need to find the right balance in
Yes.
between having a research stubborn mindset
Okay.
and being flexible, because like I said, it's a discovery journey,
Okay. Okay.
and you got to be willing to let go
Okay.
of your conviction
Okay.
and embrace something new that you haven't thought about.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that's why researchers are
Yes.
actually people who discover something new. It's because of the willingness to let go of
Yes.
old expectation, which may no longer be relevant, and
Correct.
embrace something new.
Yeah. Qualitative research, I will say we need to bracket our bias as we dive into research. And I agree with you that sometimes you just have to accept what is new and what you perceive that it should be the way. Because when you conduct research, particularly if you collect data, you want to experience something different. You want to explain the phenomena in a different way, in a different manner. So sometimes when you're not finding what you thought it could be, assumptions, that's the word, you just have to be willing to accept and maybe have a different way of explaining. Doc, how do, as a student, now we're talking about more on the student perspective, how do, as a student, we should seek help for peers and mentors so we can keep up to date in our research? And I'm talking about those who are writing and those who maybe are into articles writing and so forth.
Yes, utilize your friends and peers.
Wow.
I should not use the word utilize because it's almost like we are using someone now.
Yes.
Let us help each other
Yeah.
to be a reflecting board,
Okay.
to be a reflecting board where
Alright.
we reflect ideas. The more we exchange ideas, the more we share, the more we talk about our thoughts.
Yes.
It allows for us to reflect on it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of us keeping it to ourselves and thinking about it,
Okay.
and we become so occupied
Yes.
and obsessed with our own idea,
Yes.
to the point where we become ingrained in it, and it's so difficult to let go.
Okay.
But talking about our ideas with our friends,
Correct.
sharing,
Correct.
may actually bring in new insights,
Alright,
new
okay.
perspective.
Okay.
Although at the same time, you got to be careful that we don't get sidetracked, because our friends may actually start giving new ideas, etc.,
Yeah.
which may actually be taking us
Deviate
all
you
over
from the
direction.
plan. Yes. Yes. Yes.
We have to be careful that we stay true on
Okay.
the path that we chose, but at the same time,
Yes.
be open.
Yes.
Be open on how we can do it better,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
what can be done, how can we refine data better. Sometimes tough questions from our friends can actually be an eye-opener.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I have one friend, a colleague here in the business department, who like to ask tough questions. And sometimes when you're so into your research,
Yeah.
tough questions that seems like questioning your thoughts. Sometimes you feel like, oh, why is this person questioning?
Yes. Yes.
But it may actually be an eye opener, because it then pushes us, forces us to reflect
Yes.
and try to answer that question, and maybe help us identify weaknesses
Okay.
or identify ways to strengthen
Yes.
our arguments.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So there's a big value in sharing our thoughts
Okay.
with our friends.
So we should take advantage, not advantage, but we should make use of we should utilize our friends.
Correct.
in a good way, not in, not in a bad way. Because this is a sharing environment where we share knowledge, we help each other.
Let me add,
Mhm.
and we need to be a reflecting board for our friends too.
Correct.
So we need to be accommodating
Mm-hmm.
to our research fellows, our friends who come and discuss
Yes,
ideas.
yes, yes,
So it's actually mutually beneficial to all parties.
Oh, good, good, very good. I want to stress a little bit on the part where you say difficult question, asking difficult question, and maybe we move a little bit on when when the dissertation is done, and we talk about defense. What is it? What is the purpose of defense when it comes to the panel, and in terms of questioning? What is it? You have been to many committees, many dissertation and master's committees. What is the purpose of a defense committee and asking student question?
So, as a student, the defense session is the time for you to prove that you are capable of fulfilling the purpose of your research.
Wow, wow.
It's for you to display and showcase. Now, you'll not be able to showcase that unless you are prepared.
Correct.
So, before going to the defense, go and look for as many difficult questions as possible.
Okay,
Those difficult questions will help you prepare.
okay, okay.
It covers your blind side.
Okay.
You've got blind spots.
Yes.
Helps you cover your blind spots. So, before the defense, go and talk to people. Go and talk to the hardest professor or friends that you have. Let them ask you the most difficult question.
Okay.
When your professor, your research committee tells you to do something or asks you difficult question,
Yeah.
don't just brush it aside.
Okay.
Take it as a preparation step.
Okay.
Because when you get to the defense, that's when you will display whether you have fulfilled that purpose.
I see. And sometimes I have attended defense, and I think students also attended defense, where a student may be prepared, but just the environment itself, the atmosphere, it brings that I don't know if I would say fear, but that cold in your stomach that whenever they ask a question, then you think you did not understand it properly. And I had a student who recently told me that, man, my English was tested. I thought that I don't understand English, but this is a guy who coming from an English speaking country. I said, well, if you don't understand, how much more will I do? But I do believe that the purpose of research defense presentation is to showcase. And their question, when a committee asks question, I think this is for our viewers, they are not asking to test, but they're asking either one to prove it's really you have done the work, and how can you explain better. And what I found during the time that I watched one of your defense is you often, not always, I'll correct that, you often ask question and the findings. You because you want to, for me, the way I perceive, you want to know if student really master the finding, if he or she can explain in a better way. I like that from you. So Doc, we are almost towards the end of our conversation, which has been good. The last question will be the role of an advisor on checking on students' progress. What could be the mechanism that you as an advisor have to check in on your student, making sure that they have this amount of time for them to finish? What are the things that you usually do with your students?
We continue to learn from semester to semester.
Okay.
We try to be better in that regards.
All right.
Because research work is not a one-man show. It's not the student.
Yes.
The student show on himself or herself.
Correct.
But it's actually a work that is done by the students and the committee.
Wow.
Because the committee, research committee, help guide the students on the right path. And so there is, if you can look at it as a conversation between two parties.
A conversation, I like that.
It's a conversation between the research student and the committee.
Okay.
A conversation will not take place if it's only one person speaking.
Okay.
It has to both parties.
Yes.
We are in a conversation. The committee members will be sending you feedback,
Correct.
questions. The student then will be replying to it,
Yes.
working on it, and then sending something back.
Yes.
Unless there is something that comes back, then the conversation stops.
Yes.
No progress. It's like playing ping pong or pickleball.
Okay.
I love pickleball. Or playing tennis. Unless the ball comes to
Yes.
my court, there's nothing for us to hit. You
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So it has to be both party. And some students, there will be cases where some students usually just sweep
Okay.
the dirt under the carpet. You know, when they have problem, difficulty, they have challenges, they say, okay, I'll sleep over it. And then it took them maybe 6 months or 1 year to wake up.
Wow.
So
Yes.
you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, it becomes problematic for the entire research process.
Yes.
Now, your question is about monitoring.
Yes.
So we continue to be better.
All right.
How can we better help facilitate and help the students so that we have this conversation going on?
All right.
So that when there's a problem, I do this too. Sometimes when I face challenges in my research, sometimes I try to think it over. Since I couldn't find any answer at that point,
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'll just sleep it over.
Okay.
And then walking, walking actually helps me discover
Yes.
alternatives.
Okay.
Because while walking, I'll be thinking about it and speaking to myself. And
Okay.
sometimes, inspiration just come
Pop
out.
in, yes.
Yeah, pop in. So maybe taking a step back
Okay.
and thinking about it might help.
Yes.
But it is very important that we move on.
Okay,
You
okay.
cannot continue to stay back.
Yeah.
And so many times it will require the committee members and the faculty to actually poke the students, say, hey, come on, wake up, wake up. But a monitoring system needs to be in place
All right.
for that to happen. And actually, this is not only at the business department. In
Yes.
AIIAS as a whole, we have made the decision, and at the graduate school especially, the business department, dissertation is a class, is treated as a class, and therefore there is a Moodle platform for it,
Oh wow.
an LMS,
Okay.
in which submissions are specifically outlined
Okay.
with a submission deadline
Wow.
that will help keep track.
I see.
That will help keep track. In that way, we put a lot of accountability on the student and the faculty,
All right.
because the students will have to submit and we have a log.
Yes.
No longer can we hide behind, I sent it 6 months ago or 3 months ago, nothing came back. There is a log. And the faculty also have an accountability
Yes.
of replying on time.
Okay.
There is a log as well.
Yeah.
So you see, by using this platform, it puts responsibility and accountability on the hand of both parties.
No, I like that.
There is a log, there is a monitoring,
Yeah.
and we are putting that in place. What are we doing to help improve completion, timely completion?
Correct.
Many times, we may have students who, especially at the PhD level,
Yeah.
would be spending a lot of time trying to identify gaps.
Okay.
Because really, research gap, and
Yes.
the purpose is very much
Yes.
the
They're
initial
hard.
part
Yeah.
of the research. And so many times they would spend many months working on that. Sometimes 6 months, sometimes even 9 months.
Wow.
That's a bit too long,
Yes,
not
yes.
a bit, that's a lot too long. So we try and solve that problem
Okay.
by treating topic
Okay.
as a course.
Wow. Wow.
So right now, the students will have to enroll for a topic, dissertation topic, as a course.
Wow.
Meaning there's a beginning and there's an end,
Wow.
and there's an output.
Okay.
So the output is the topic, a proof topic,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So if the topic is not approved, the student will have to re-enroll.
Re-enroll. It doesn't fail, or she doesn't fail, but just re-enroll.
Well, it is UNS, it's graded.
Oh, satisfactory and satisfactory.
Yes.
Wow.
So the student will, if the student did not pass, have to enroll. If within one term not complete,
Yeah.
the student will have to re-enroll. Wow. So it put a lot of responsibility and accountability on the part of both parties.
I see.
It's a one credit. It does not extend. It
Two
does not
semester.
extend the 15 credit dissertation.
I see.
It is still within the 15 credit dissertation. It's just broken down into different components
Okay.
and putting in more accountability into that.
I see.
So the expectation is one term, topic done. After that, we move on to research proposal.
Wow.
Again, research proposal is a class,
Okay. For how long?
2 terms.
Okay.
It's a class, enrollment. At the end of the 2 terms, they will have to be done.
Okay.
Again, the same
Process.
concept.
Wow. Wow.
Now, how can we ensure that the students have already have the research gap
Correct.
when they get to this stage? In the PhD program,
Yes.
and of course in the masters on the academic track program, we put a program plan that will lead towards this.
Okay.
For example, in the PhD program, the sequence is advanced reading,
Okay.
and then moving towards directed individual research.
Research. Yes.
So in the advanced reading class, the student is already identifying gaps.
Gaps. Okay.
And after they have identified the gap, they
Okay.
develop the conceptual framework
Yes.
from the readings. Then when they move to the next term, the students do directed individual research.
Okay.
This is when they apply that conceptual framework
I see.
into data collection and testing it and write the paper. Then after that, we move into topic.
Topics.
So by the time the student enroll into topic, it's about writing the gap and the topic
Yes.
into the topic request form
Wow.
and presenting it to the
Wow. Wow. Wow.
the
So as we close, overall, we are looking at 1 year program. I mean, 1 year writing stage where you complete everything. Is that
between 1 year and 1.5
1
years.
and a half year? Okay, thank you. We came to close of our conversation. We came to an end of our conversation. But we have this series that we call advertisement series, where we, when we have guests in this podcast, we ask them to tell few things from where the department that they are coming from. So from your case, Doc, we're gonna tell us 5 reasons why people and individuals watching this podcast, maybe he's not an Adventist, maybe or is an Adventist, but he's considering coming to AIIAS. What are some of the 4 reasons the person will consider coming to AIIAS, particularly in the business department? Very briefly.
Okay, let me tell you, first of all, understanding our purpose in life is very important, because that defines many of our decisions.
Correct.
What is your purpose in life? Here at AIIAS, our worldview on the purpose of life is that we are here to glorify God.
Amen.
And that is the starting point on any of our research,
Yes.
any of our teaching, and that is what we want our students to realize.
Yes.
That glorifying God is the purpose of us studying here.
Okay.
When you publish, you asked the question, why? What do you gain from publishing? I mentioned that the edge that it brings to the class.
Sure.
But at the same time, it brings AIIAS. It exposes AIIAS to the world.
Correct.
Publishing in Q1, Q2, Q3 Scopus or Web of Science Index journals is putting AIIAS up in the place for the world to see.
Correct.
Why?
Yeah.
Why does the world have to see AIIAS?
Yes.
It's because the Lord said, you will be the head
Not the tail.
and not the tail.
Amen.
What's the point?
Yes.
So that the world will come and see and learn about God from the head.
Wow. I like that.
How can we attract people to come and learn about God
Yes.
if we are just the tail? All right? So the purpose of excellence should be clear.
All right.
The motivation behind excellence should
alright.
be clear. It is not for self alone. Excellence is not for us, but so that we can be a tool where we can bring people to come. And when they ask, what is the reason for your success?
Yes.
It's because of God.
Amen.
That is one.
Okay.
At AIIAS, we help students realize what is the purpose in life
Okay.
and how can we best meet that purpose
Okay.
in any discipline that we want.
Okay.
Number 2, the experiential learning.
Okay.
We believe and practice learning by doing.
Okay.
So in class, we don't just talk about theories, we don't just talk about concepts, but we learn by doing.
By doing. Okay.
We take the students out of the classroom
Yes.
and learn outside the class.
Okay.
Connecting with the community,
Okay.
connecting with our sister institutions,
Okay.
bringing our student into our research journey.
All right.
For example, we have a research project with ADRA.
Okay.
ADRA is the Adventist Development and Relief Agency
Yes.
arm of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, in which they engage in development.
Okay.
So we have a multi-year research project with ADRA.
Okay.
This coming October, we're going out.
Okay.
We are inviting students who are in the research writing phase
Okay.
to be part of this.
All right.
So you see, we are bringing students away from the class,
Yes.
engaging with the community, engaging with the industry,
All right.
and bringing the learning there.
Okay.
Learn by doing.
Okay.
We believe in positive experience because negative experience have long negative consequences.
Yes.
It is very hard to change that. We are a small community.
Yes.
Our student body is small. And so having positive experience, student to student, is
Yes.
very important.
Correct.
Student to faculty. Faculties are approachable.
Yes.
Students are approachable. We treat each other with respect.
Yes.
That our students are, some are current leaders already.
Yes.
Some are future leaders.
Yes.
And so the respect is very important. We would like to make change
Okay.
through the future leaders.
I see.
And so that positive experience is what we strive for.
Very good.
And maybe the last is that we are an international community.
Wow. Yes.
The campus represent, I think this year is about 50 plus
Wow.
country, but a year or 2 years ago we represent more than 70 countries.
Yes.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. But having 50 plus countries on campus,
Yes.
you cannot, it's very difficult to find a place.
Yes.
So you learn about diversity. You learn about people's background.
Correct.
We learn how we can work together with all the diverse background.
Correct.
Different culture, different mindset, different worldview, different thinking. The world is a place where teamwork is at the heart
Yes.
of achievement. many corporations are successful and becoming leader in their field because they work using a project-based approach. Competition is so high.
Correct.
They need to continue to innovate very quickly.
Yes.
Time from the design to the market
Yes.
is very short.
Yes.
Otherwise, you lose your market share.
Yeah.
So innovation needs to happen very quickly, short time. Product life cycle is become very short.
Yeah.
How can you achieve new innovations if you don't work in projects? So new innovations are done through projects. So group of people working together
Okay.
towards finding solution, offering new alternative, new innovations. Teamwork is very important.
Correct.
Group work,
Yeah.
teamwork. How can you have an effective team? So learning to work together, soft skill,
Okay.
is very important. And you learn that here in AIIAS.
Wow. Wow.
You will learn in AIIAS how to develop that teamwork, that cohesion,
Yes.
teamwork, and respect for diversity.
I see.
So there are many other
Yeah.
benefits of coming to AIIAS.
Yes.
But I think those are some of the major ones that I can share with you. God is at the center of everything that we do here.
Well, thank you so much. And in fact, aside from those four that you mentioned, there's a motto in the business department, and the motto is
We make it happen.
So if you come to the business department, you will have to make it happen for sure. Thank you.
We make it happen, not alone.
Yes, we make it happen.
We make it happen,
Yes.
together
Yes.
as a group
Yes.
for a very specific reason,
Yes.
to glorify God.
Amen. Amen. I want to thank you, Dr. LeRoy, for your time, for having this conversation with us. And I believe by watching this, you will find your purpose in research. We have just discussed so many things. We hope that you can watch it, and after watch you can have your comments in. You can suggest other types of conversation in our YouTube channel. But for today, we are ending now with the following note. In the business department, I think we can say together, we make it happen. We look at this camera and we say, in the business department, we make it happen. Can we say together?
Sure,
Doc?
yes.
Okay. In the business department, we make it happen. See you until the next podcast.